Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. UPI reports that the Trump administration's stringent immigration policies have likely led to the separation of over 200,000 children from at least one parent, according to a new study from the Brookings Institution released Monday. A significant portion, estimated at about 145,000, are believed to be U.S. citizens. This number far exceeds official U.S. Department of Homeland Security data, which researchers suggest is an undercount. The report highlights that while U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE) personnel are supposed to inquire about parental status, anecdotal evidence indicates this often doesn't happen, or parents avoid disclosure to protect their children. The authors, Tara Watson and Maria Cancian, noted that tens of thousands of children have experienced parental detention, with the majority being U.S. citizens. Approximately 22,000 children are left without any parent in the home, with most being cared for informally by friends or family rather than through official foster care. The report stresses that the nation has a clear obligation to safeguard the well-being of children affected by parental detention and displacement. Al Jazeera reports that Somaliland's first ambassador to a foreign country officially presented his credentials to Israeli President Isaac Herzog on May 18, 2026. This significant diplomatic development follows Israel's recognition of the breakaway region's independence last year. Somaliland, which declared its separation from Somalia in 1991, has spent over 3 decades seeking international recognition, a status it had largely been denied until recently. The presentation of credentials marks a notable step for Somaliland in its efforts to establish formal diplomatic ties and gain broader acceptance on the global stage. This move could have implications for regional diplomacy and international relations concerning the Horn of Africa. The Annual Assembly of the World Health Organization, WHO, commenced on May 18 in Geneva, Switzerland. Discussions on granting observer status to non-member Taiwan took place on the first day. However, China, a member state, once again opposed Taiwan's participation, citing the One China principle, resulting in the denial of Taiwan's bid this year as well. Gigi Press reports that Taiwan was invited to the assembly from 2009 to 2016, but has been excluded since due to escalating tensions in cross-strait relations. The assembly is scheduled to conclude on May 23. Al Jazeera reports that Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel has strongly asserted Cuba's absolute legitimate right to defend itself against potential United States military aggression. He warned that any U.S. military action against the island nation would trigger a bloodbath with severe regional consequences. These remarks follow an Axios report, which claimed Cuba had amassed over 300 drones capable of attacking U.S. forces or Florida, a claim met with skepticism. The Cuban president's statement also comes amidst months of threats from the Trump administration, including suggestions of military force to topple the Cuban government and an ongoing energy blockade. The blockade has further exacerbated Cuba's already fragile economy, leading to widespread blackouts and protests. On Monday, the Trump administration announced additional sanctions on Cuba's intelligence directorate, though the island has been under a comprehensive U.S. trade embargo since the 1960s. Reactions in Cuba range from defiance to exhaustion, with one citizen stating, "If they come, they will have to fight because Cuba will respond." Global News reports that Canadian aid organizations are calling on Prime Minister Mark Carney to lead an international coalition against the U.S.-Mexico City policy. This policy, drastically expanded by the Trump administration, halts American funding for groups in developing countries that provide abortion services, science-based sexual health information, or LGBTQ because advocacy. Aid groups, including Oxfam Canada and MSI Reproductive Choices, highlight that this global gag rule has led to increased unintended pregnancies, unsafe abortions, and a chilling effect on rights and advocacy in regions like Southern Africa and Zimbabwe. They note that American aid, cuts, and new restrictions are forcing difficult choices upon their partners, with some avoiding certain topics to maintain funding. Canada's International Development Secretary stated that gender equality and inclusion remain core principles for Canadian assistance, emphasizing continued advocacy through international forums. The sector hopes Canada renews its 10-year commitment to gender-focused health funding, set to expire in 2030 to counter the U.S. policy's impact on global health systems and women's bodily autonomy. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.